Welcome back. A lot to discuss with our panel today. We're joined by Robin Winston, Tony Samuel, and two former state lawmakers, Terry Austin and Mike Murphy. And Mike, I'll start with you. As former Senator Braun prepares to take office as governor on Monday, what's your expectation in terms of how things will go between he and state lawmakers this year as he tries to enact some of his big agenda items like property tax reform?
Well, he's probably in a better position than any governor since Frank O'Bannon, because Mike Braun understands the legislative process just as Frank O'Bannon did. Mitch Daniels came at it from a different kind of attitude, more of a corporate executive attitude. And then Mike Pence had a real, because he was a legislator in Congress, he was like, I'm not going to interfere. I'm going to let the legislature work its will. Then I'll look at things when they get to my desk, which is a very different attitude than Mitch Daniels was right in on top of
more
everything.
hands-on. Yeah. Terry, where do you see your party fitting into that conversation with Republicans still in the supermajority as Governor-elect Braun takes office this week?
Well, I think you'll see the House Democrats and the Senate Democrats try to offer ideas to, improve bills. There's an old saying in the General Assembly, you can't make a bad bill better. But at the same time, hopefully there'll be a spirit of bipartisanship, and they will try to incorporate some of the agenda items where they can and where they can agree.
We'll see what happens with that. Tony, there was that bill that would have limited the lieutenant governor's role overseeing the ag industry. It quickly got sent to the Rules Committee, where most bills go to die. Still, how do you see this dynamic playing out with the new lieutenant governor, not just between Braun and Beckwith, but with Republican lawmakers as well?
Well, I think everybody's got to adapt. This lieutenant governor, Micah Beckwith, he's a great guy. He's very sincere. He's a pastor.
But he said a lot of things that have caused controversy.
He says a lot of things because he wants to energize the conversation, and he has. And I agree with him on just about all the issues. It's a matter of how he gets that message across that legislators and some of the general public is not used to. But same with Trump. It's the same kind of dynamic. So there'll be a period where they adapt to each other. This bill, like you said, sent to Rules right away. It's not going to have any legs. It's not going to go anywhere. And the other thing is, the governor's office was surprised by this as well and not in favor of it. They're not supporting the bill. They're going to keep things, and they're supporting Micah as the lieutenant governor having the Department
of Ag. And they've already restructured some things in terms of different cabinet roles and the LG's role. Robin, what's your view on all of that from across the aisle?
Well, I think that you're going to have a lot of things that are going to impact it from Washington. The president's policy on immigration. Are we going to be taking National Guard troops and deploying them to move people out of Indiana? The president's policy on energy, who says he does not like windmills. Welcome to Fowler and Benton County, where there are a lot of windmills. And the president's policy on Medicaid and getting rid of the Affordable Care Act's provisions to protect Medicaid. How's that going to affect things back here? I think all of those things at the national level will have an impact here in Indiana. As it relates to Beckwith, everybody remember, this was introduced by Republicans of his own party.
All right, let's turn to Washington now. We're about a week away from President-elect Trump's inauguration. And this week we saw all of the living presidents together at President Carter's funeral with some really interesting moments there, Mike, including the first time we saw Donald Trump and Mike Pence shaking hands since the events of January 6, 4 years ago.
It was like watching a program, The View. They all sit around, they look at videos, and they talk about, the social dynamics between
how do the handshakes go,
so,
or the lack of handshakes
Karen
in some
Pence
cases?
did not stand up to greet Melania or the president-elect.
And they didn't extend a hand toward her either.
That's right. And the Clintons, brushed right by. It was like a high school dance or something like that.
President Bush did one of these to President Obama.
Oh, did he?
Yes. Hey there, good to see you.
I love Bush.
It was an interesting sight, no doubt.
But a lot of interesting comments, none of which mean anything.
But a lot of echoes from what happened on January 6, 4 years ago, certainly, in terms of seeing that handshake or the lack of a handshake.
It's going to play out forever.
Terry, a very different scene, certainly, in the U.S. Capitol this year on January 6. What were your thoughts and reflections on everything that we saw this past week?
Well, we've come a long way in 4 years. And I think we demonstrated to not just the country, but to the rest of the world, that American democracy can work when people are willing to abide by not just the rule of law, but the election process and conduct themselves as ladies and gentlemen.
Tony, how do you and other Trump supporters see this moment here ahead of the inauguration coming next weekend in these very interesting times in our nation's capital?
Yeah, interesting times. I was there in 2016. I'm going to be there again next week, so I'm looking forward to that. My wife and son are going to be with me. So it's going to be a great day. Hopefully, no disruptions. There's the safety concerns, but hopefully there's a good plan. I'm sure there is. He'll give a great speech and a very forward-looking, and we've heard a lot of it. In rallies and in news conferences from him. But he'll set a tone, and we're going to change a lot. He's going to change a lot of things that have gone wrong over the last 4 years, and national security, domestic policy, the economy.
Yeah, what about all the talk about Greenland, the Panama Canal, Canada as a state?
And that's even more fun, and making it the Gulf of America. Why not? You hear some of these things.
But those kind of remarks cause some controversy too.
And I think he wants to start that conversation. The Greenland and the Canada thing, those are national security concerns. When you look at what Russia and what China is doing, it might make sense to take Greenland, if you can do it peacefully, of course.
But we're not annexing Canada. That doesn't seem very realistic to anybody.
Nobody wants Canadians.
Robin, your reflections on everything we saw this past week, not just in politics, but also amidst some really serious situations that had President Biden visiting both New Orleans and LA this past week.
Well, first off, Donald Trump is better at flooding the zone than Patrick Mahomes on a good day. This guy knows how to give us a lot of issues that distract us. What is still out there is we don't have the security clearances for cabinet heads. We don't have the FBI background checks that are needed. As it relates to the president going to California, there were even remarks made about the California fires that the governor of California had to refute. So I really hope that in the next 4 years, we can tone down some of the rancor, because believe it or not, Dan, people do follow that messaging and carry it to heart.
All right, we appreciate our panel. They're going to be back with us in just a few minutes. Some of them there on Zoom because of all the winter weather we've been experiencing here. All right, coming up next, we're going to hear from state lawmakers about the controversy leading some to call for Indiana University to be defunded. Stick around, we'll be right back after this.